Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Gold and Blue Dude. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. And sometimes people hit the subscribe button just to tell me how wrong I am. Hey, that's okay too. Quick reminder about my score prediction contest. Every single week I give out $20 to the person that guesses the closest to the score of the game that I give out. Congratulations to Jeff Grimm this week. You win $20. He was only 1 point off of the score prediction. That's amazing. In order to qualify for my score prediction contest, all you have to do is go over to my Patreon page, join my Patreon page, and you're eligible. Blue members get 1 guest prediction per week. Gold members get 2 guest predictions per week. And champion members get 4 guest predictions per week. And you can win as many times as you want. The game for week 5 score prediction contest is number 7 Cincinnati at number 9 Notre Dame. And the tiebreaker is number 11 Ole Miss at number 1 Alabama. So go join my Patreon page and email me your score prediction for your chance to win $20. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 teams that have been the biggest letdowns in 2021 so far. First up, a dishonorable mention to Oklahoma. The only reason they didn't make the actual list is because, well, they haven't lost a game yet. They are undefeated 4-0. Something doesn't look right. They're averaging 38.8 points per game. That's 24th. That's not bad. They allow 16 points per game. That's 22nd. That's not bad either. A lot of people are complaining about Spencer Rattler. So far, he's 100 for 135 at 74.1%. He's throwing for 1,017 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Doesn't sound too bad to me. Running back Eric Gray, 45 carries for 223 yards. That's 5 yards a carry. Running back Kennedy Brooks, 39 carries for 227 yards, 5.8 yards a carry. So a decent running game, a decent defense, a decent quarterback. For some reason, they're just struggling in games right now. And their next game is a big test at Kansas State, and the Wildcats have had Oklahoma's number. I expect Oklahoma to get it together and be much better, but we'll see. Number 10 on my letdown teams for 2021 so far, Florida State. It's not like they had huge expectations, but I thought maybe, hey, they could get to a bowl. Well, they're 0-4 so far. Dead last in the ACC Atlantic. They're averaging 23 points per game. That's 103rd. And allow 31.8 points per game. That's 106th. Not good at all. 4 losses. Notre Dame, that's not a bad loss. Jacksonville State, FCS, that's a terrible loss. At Wake Forest and Louisville. Yeah, it's not looking good for Florida State. In fact, people are wondering if Florida State will go winless in 2021. They're looking at games where Florida State could possibly win. Next best chance for Florida State, Syracuse. It's a home game. We'll see if they can pull it off. Number 9, Iowa State. They're 2-2 so far, 8th in the Big 12. They're averaging 27.5 points per game. That's 80th. Compared to last year, 32.9 points per game, 34th. They're allowing just 17.8 points per game. That's 28th. Last year, they allowed 21.4 points per game, 25th. So about the same. So it comes down to the offense. Quarterback Brock Purdy, 77 for 110. That's 70%. 888 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. Running back Breece Hall, not doing as good as what he was last year. 87 carries for 428 yards, 4.9 yards a carry, and 6 touchdowns. Their next game, a home game against Kansas. Should be a win, might help with confidence. They lost to Iowa at home at Baylor, so not terrible losses, but we were expecting more from Iowa State. The good news for Cyclone fans is Iowa State is known for slow starts, so they could finish strong and be a contender in the Big 12. We'll see. Number 8 on this list, Indiana. So far, they're 2-2, dead last in the Big 10 East. Last year, they averaged 29.8 points per game. That's 66th, compared to 28.9 points per game this year, 59th. So about the same. They're allowing 29.2 points per game. That's 94th. That's not good at all. Last year, they allowed 20.2 points per game. That's 20th. That's Indiana's problem, the defense. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr., he's 77 for 140. That's 55%. He's thrown for 821 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So also having quarterback issues. Running game not good either. Running back Stephen Carr, 87 carries for 336 yards, only 3.9 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. And running back Tim Baldwin Jr., 27 carries for 102 yards, 3.8 yards a carry, no touchdowns. Next game at Penn State. So I don't think it's going to get much better anytime soon for Indiana. So welcome back to reality, Indiana, when it comes to football. Number 7, Wisconsin. This was a team that I'm wrong about so far. I thought they would have a bounce back year. Not happening so far. 1-2, 6th in the Big 10 West. They're averaging 19 points per game. That's 113th. Last year, they averaged 25.1 points per game. That's 89th. So they're not known for offense, but this year, their offense is especially bad. They allowed 21.3 points per game. That's 56th. Last year, they averaged 17.4 points per game. That's 9th. So their defense has taken a significant step backwards. They've lost to Penn State and Notre Dame. They're not terrible losses, but still that offense needs to be better. Quarterback Graham Mertz, 54 for 95. That's 56 56.8%. He's thrown for 566 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. Running game, it's okay, I guess. Running back Ches Malusi, 69 carries for 319 yards. That's 4.6 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. And running back Isaac Rindo, 21 carries for 153 yards, 7.3 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. So the passing game needs to improve, and the defense needs to come around. Their next game, a home game against number 14 Michigan. That's a chance for a big bounce back. But so far, Wisconsin has been a letdown team. Number 6, staying in the Big Ten, Ohio State. They're 3-1, 5th in the Big Ten East. They're averaging 43.2 points per game. That's 8th. That's not bad. Last year, they averaged 41 points per game, 11th. So about the same. They're allowing 23.2 points per game. That's 70th. That's not good. Last year, they allowed 25.8 points per game, which is 43rd. So their defense slightly worse than what it was last year, especially that secondary. Quarterback CJ Stroud is 63 for 101. That's 62.4%, thrown for 963 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Not bad, but not great. They have a great running game. Running back Travion Henderson, 46 carries for 439 yards, 9.5 yards a carry, and 6 touchdowns. That's amazing. Running back Mian Williams, 32 carries for 249 yards, 7.8 yards a carry, and 1 touchdown. And running back Master Tig, 28 carries for 162 yards, 5.8 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns. They're all set for the running game. Their quarterback needs to improve, and their defense needs to improve. Next game, a road trip to Rutgers. That could be tricky. And their only loss is to a good Oregon. So it's not all doom and gloom. I'm just saying they're a letdown so far. Number 5, this is when we get into the really, really bad letdowns. Miami, the Hurricanes, they're 2-2, 6th in the ACC Coastal. They're averaging 31 points per game. That's 59th. Last year, they averaged 34 points per game, 26th. Not as good offensively this year. They're allowing 26.2 points per game. That's 83rd. Last year, they allowed 27 points per game, 51st. Slightly worse on the defensive side of the ball. Quarterback De'Aaron King, 81 for 122, 66.4%, throwing for 767 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. Gotta cut back on those interceptions. Running game, it's okay, but not great. Running back Cameron Harris, 51 carries for 272 yards, 5.3 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. I think Miami actually needs to run the ball more. That's one of their issues. And their defense. Next game, a home game against Virginia. That's a winnable game, but an important game. This is your chance to try to turn the season around, Miami. Plus, their losses were to Alabama and Michigan State. Not terrible losses, so the season's not lost yet. Number 4, USC. Yikes. 2-2, 4th in the Pac-12 South. They're averaging 32.5 points per game. That's 53rd. Last year, they averaged 33.3 points per game, 31st. They're allowing 27 points per game. That's 85th. Last year, they allowed 26 points per game, 47th. Not as good on defense either. What's the problem? First off, the quarterback, Keaton Slovis. So far, he's 83 for 129. That's 64.3%, throwing for 842 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. The running game, not great either. Running back Keontae Ingram, 42 carries for 225 yards. That's 4.9 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. They do have bad losses. They lost to Stanford at home and Oregon State at home. Next game at Colorado. Well, you've been decent on the road, so maybe a road trip to Colorado can help right the ship. I don't know. Your season might be lost already. Number 3, Texas A&M. They are number 15 in the nation. They're 3-1, 6th in the SEC West. They average 23.8 points per game. That's 98th. Not good at all. Last year, they averaged 32.6 points per game. That's 37th. They allowed 9.2 points per game. That's 2nd. So a really good defense. Better defense than what they had last year. It's that offense, and it's very concerning. Quarterback Zach Calzada, 57 for 108. That's 52.8%, thrown for 609 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. They actually do have a decent running game. Running back Isaiah Spiller, 52 carries for 345 yards, 6.6 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns. Texas A&M just needs to run the ball more. The season is not lost, but if you don't run the ball more and score more points, the season could be lost very, very quickly. You have a very tough schedule. It's difficult to get it going in the SEC. But your next game is against Mississippi State at home. Maybe that can give you some confidence. Plus, your only loss was to Arkansas. That's not a terrible loss. You're just not showing any signs of offense, and that's bad in the SEC. Number 2, North Carolina. Big letdown year so far. 2-2, 3rd in the ACC Coastal. They're averaging 37.5 points per game. That's 29th. Last year, they were averaging 41.7 points per game. That's 9th. So a decent step down on offense. They allowed 29.5 points per game. That's 97th. Defense about the same. Quarterback Sam Howell, 77 for 121. That's 63.6%. He's thrown for 1,173 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Also 55 carries for 259 yards, 4.7 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. It's not your quarterback. He's fine. Running back Ty Chandler, 62 carries for 370 yards, 6 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. Not a bad running game either. Honestly, I don't know what's going on at North Carolina. Confidence? Is it coaching? training? Is it practice? I don't know. Your next game is a home game against Duke. I'm sure that's going to be a win. Maybe it'll give you some confidence. Your 2 losses at Virginia Tech and then at Georgia Tech. Yeah, that loss to Georgia Tech, not a good loss. But your season isn't over yet. You still have time to turn it around, but you need to start doing it now. So far, you've been a letdown in 2021. And of course, the number 1 letdown team in 2021 so far is Clemson, for sure. They are 2-2, 4th in the ACC Atlantic. They're averaging 21.8 points per game. That's 105th in the nation. Last year, they averaged 43.5 points per game, 4th in the nation. Defense is good, though. They're only allowing 12 points per game. That's 5th. The offense is horrendous. Clemson does have a quarterback issue. DJ Uiagalelei, 63 for 112. That's 56.3%, 586 yards. That's not a lot at all. 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Also, 36 carries for 110 yards, 3.1 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns. Running game, not good either. Running back Will Shipley, 44 carries for 211 yards. That's 4.8 yards a carry and 5 touchdowns. Definitely having offensive issues. Your next game is a home game against Boston College. That's not a gimme game. Boston College is looking good. 2 losses so far is to Georgia and at NC State. So not terrible losses, although that was a significant upset at NC State. But you still have time to turn the season around. But the offense has got to come together. It is really, really bad this year. You are the number 1 letdown team in 2021 so far. And if things don't change drastically on the offensive side of the ball, at the end of the year, you'll still be the number 1 letdown team in the nation in 2021. A lot of work to do for Clemson. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.